Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Fireman Dan here, and welcome back to Space Engineers. So last episode I went over making helicopters, and this one I'm going to go over planes. So just some of the basic blocks here. These are the wing parts, okay? And these are the rounded edge ones, and these are pointed edge ones. Now these are obviously a mod. And there's a couple different mods on the workshop with plane parts, and they all are pretty much the same. Some of them, like the aerodynamic mod and drag, where you burn up if you go too fast and stuff. That's not this. This is just a plane part, just makes them fly. And I will link this specific one in the link below in the description. But let's continue on. So the rounded edge one. So if you bring up your G menu, type in wing, round, that's these right here. The rounded edge wing parts. Now, to limit the, I don't know what you're calling it, the performance issues on the servers or your private worlds, not all the plane parts on the wings have the flight script to them. Only the large ones do. That's it. That's both the rounded edges and the pointed edges one. But if you were to go ahead and then, let's see here, drag this down to your bottom here and use your mouse wheel, you can just scroll through all these down here. And there's really no difference to them except just the size and the look and kind of what you're going for. If you want something more traditional wings, then you got your straight edges. If you want to build a like a quick and nimble fighter jet or something along that line, then you got more angled slopes. And down at the end here, you got the edge ones as well. Pointed edge. Same thing as the round, but they're pointed. Now back here, these are the wing tips. Okay, so wing tip, this right here, that's what these are. They're just various different sizes and looks to them. This block right here is called the wing fill. And it's exactly what it sounds like, right? So if I come over here to this, and I take that out, oops. I take that specific block out, that's the wing fill. So, right? So you got the wing edge on this plane. I got the rounded edges in the front. I got the wing tips on here. And then I got the wing points on the back. And then I filled everything in the middle with the wing fill. And remember, the wing fill does not have the flight script to them. Just the edge points do. So all this does absolutely nothing but looks. These are struts, right? So I think, what are they called? Wing, yep. The wing rigging. They do absolutely nothing but provide looks. That's it. This right here is a wing motor. There's various different sizes of them. Wing motors. And that's just so you can make folding wings. All it really is a glorified rotor, as you see. If I actually take these off, it'll just keep going around and round and round. So it's a glorified rotor block. That's it. Now these right here are engines. Oops, what are they called? Type of propeller. Prop, motor, classic, prop, motor, modern. Classic and the modern. These do absolutely nothing. They are there for looks. Now back here, so it's an actual propeller. There's a lot of them, but they're all pretty much the same. You got your 2 blades, 3 blades, 4 blades, and 5 blades, right? And within each one of these little subgroups, 2, 3, 4, 5, you got your silver and black, right? So, and then you got backwards, forwards and backwards, right? So one of them is forwards, which is what you think of when you think of a plane propeller. It pulls you forwards, and the other one is backwards, which would be for like a pusher type aircraft, where this would actually, the thrust would push you that away. Lastly, are the actual plane parts themselves. I type in plane. Here's the plane blocks. These blocks are exactly the same as your regular light armored blocks. There's no difference except the skin. They weigh the same. They take the same amount of components to build them, which is like one steel plate. So using these gives you no benefit over the regular light blocks, except their clean, skin look. Because this and then the light armor block below it, where you can actually see all the armor plates in it. Why would you want to use either one? Well, it depends on what kind of look you're going for. The reason I use light armor blocks over here is with the new updates that came out recently, you get the new armor blocks. So you got more you can do with building wise. Whereas the plane parts, you don't have all the full list of light armor blocks. Can you make a plane out of it? Absolutely. There's nothing stopping you. It's just, like I said, what kind of clean look you're going for. Lastly, I have to point this out. There are landing gears, landing gear doors, and what is it? Wheel, maybe? Plane wheel. The motors, they're similar to the hinge blocks, and you can use them to make retractable landing gears. And then the landing gears themselves, you put the plane wheels on either the plane, or you can put them on the motors. And then you can use the landing gear door to actually make actual landing gears if you wish. The problem is, I've noticed that they're buggy for me. They cause FPS issues. They interact with clang, if you guys know what I mean. Even if you turn the strength up on them, they kind of want to like skid along the ground and clang out, and you hear them banging around, and they don't work out too well. And I'm not the only one. If you actually go into the mod's description and look down through the comments, you'll see several people complaining about the landing wheels. And it's not the mod itself. It has something to do with Keen and the game engine. So if I were you, do not use them. And it kind of sucks because the aesthetics to them are pretty cool, and the retractable landing gears are pretty cool. And I would love to be able to use these, and I've tried them on several different designs, including these things right here, and it did not like the wheels. Don't use them. Avoid them. You got some other options you can use, like you see right here. I had to use the 1x1 wheel, and I pointed this one downwards. In the back, I got the 3x3 wheels here, and I got the nose wheel pointed downwards. This works just fine. It's not as aesthetically pleasing, but it works. So another option is this. I actually started working on this before I decided I'm going to go ahead and record the video first. And I have retractable landing gears on this. So this is an option. And yes, I intentionally made them stick out down below a little bit. That was a design choice. You can have it to where they retract fully in. You can put them on pistons and have the piston draw up in or something. It's your choice, your design, do what you want. But I'm just giving you a fair warning. If you plan on using the wheels that came with the mods, you're going to build your plane, you're going to go take off and find out you have problems. So, that's all. So how do you get started? Well, I don't know. How do you build any other ship? Where do you start? I usually start with something like this. I throw a landing gear on, and then I just build off from there. And in this case, I decided to start my landing gears first because I knew that I needed the account for the wheels retracting up into the plane. So that's what I did here. You can start with, say, the fighter cockpit and then work your way back, however you want to do it. And then you also got your weapons you want to put on here. There's one more thing, a mod that I want to show you, and I will link it in the description below that goes along with that. And if you come into the fighter cockpit here and scroll down, it's Advanced Fly Module 2.0. And this actually makes you turn in the direction you're flying. Right? Here. Now what do I mean by that? Well, let's go ahead and take off here. Now watch as I turn. You see how the plane is banking to the left? I am not doing that. That's this mod doing this. Right? As I level back out, stopped here. So as you've seen, that was a mod that made me bank to the sides. And one more thing I do need to point out is air brakes. Air brakes. They're here. Use them. As you've seen how quickly I came to a stop right there once I landed on ice, nonetheless. That was because of these. And one little trick I do want to mention is your power source. The reason this body is a little thicker is because I got a couple batteries hidden in there, and you don't need to do that. As you look at, I'll bring this with me. One of the things I've learned while building is consumption of your power. So this one is a little more narrow, right? And this one is a little thicker. Well, why is that? Well, I was going back to my traditional knowledge of building airplanes and using batteries. Right? Let's go ahead and tail this down so we can fly them. There we go. And as you see, I got the large battery sitting in here, right? And I got a couple of them. I think there's 2 or 3 of them. But on this one, I got small batteries. Well, why is that? Well, one of the things I've discovered is a tip for power consumption. So I can't lock myself into place. So if I were to come in here and throttle up all the way, if you notice, I'm only using 19% of my power. I'm only using 19% of my power, and I got 1 hour remaining. Right? But if I use my thrust override, I'm barely touching my power percentage, and I got a lot more power time remaining. The whole point is use your thrust, set your thrust overrides up in your cockpit for your engines. You can use less batteries, which would mean if you're building this in survival, it's cheaper to build, it's cheaper to recharge, and you can stretch your power source out. And if you ever need the power, you can always turn off your thrust override and hold W down. It's there. But really, once you take off, you don't need all that power anymore, right? So let me just demonstrate that real quick here. Just don't like me. Oh, there we go. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off. Now, once I'm airborne, sudden airborne. I'm going to turn on my thrust override. Alright, now maximum thrust override here is 142. And I'm gaining speed. Pretty good. Right? But if I turn this down to half, so 142, half of that would be about, what, 80? I'm at 50% throttle. I'm barely using my batteries, right? And I'm still flying along at a perfectly good clip. So that's all I have to say. So you got your blocks, you got your wing blocks, right? Just as a recap, you got your wing blocks. Only the large ones actually account for something in regards to the flight, which is the big ones here. You got your wing tips, which you don't need them, but it's just, you know, aesthetics. You get your wing filler to actually fill your wings in. You got your engines, which do absolutely nothing, and you got your propeller. And remember, you don't need to use these. You can use regular thrusters as well. Excuse me. You can use regular thrusters as well. And you got your basic building blocks, which you can use these, or you can use light armor blocks, or if you're so inclined, you can use heavy blocks too. And remember, do not use the regular landing gears. If you want to do them, use it as your own risk, that's all I'm going to say. And use your thrust overrides for your engines. You will save yourself on space to build in. You will save components to build. And you will save your power supply in the long run. And use the advanced flight module. Do yourself a favor and use it. You don't have to, but you're making a plane. If you're making a plane, you're making a plane for a reason, and you're going to want it to act like an actual plane. Use the advanced flight module. I'll put the links to both the plane mods and the advanced flight module down in the description below. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Fireman Dan. If you have any questions, please go ahead and leave a comment. If you liked the video, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. I will see you guys next time on Space Engineers.